The motorcycle community suffers from a terminal disease. It is not frame rust. It is not ethanol fuel degradation. It is the poser. These riders purchase a shiny leather jacket, binge watch a television show about outlaw clubs, and suddenly believe they own the public asphalt. They break the sacred, unwritten rules of the road. They disrespect veteran riders who have bled for this lifestyle. Today, we are exposing 14 unwritten rules these clowns break on a daily basis. Stop letting the posers dictate the culture. Grab your helmet. Let us begin. Number 14. The unsolicited touch. You park your pristine, custom-painted machine outside a roadside diner. You walk inside to order a black coffee. You glance out the glass window to check your bike. A stranger wearing cheap street clothes stands next to your motorcycle. They reach out. They run their bare hands over your custom gas tank. Even worse, they grab your handlebars. They throw a leg over your leather saddle to take a photograph for their social media feed. This is a massive violation of personal property. You do not touch another person's motorcycle. A motorcycle is an intimate extension of the rider. When a poser leans over your gas tank, they fail to understand basic material science. Their cheap denim jeans feature hard metal rivets. The zipper on their jacket is made of steel. A scratched gas tank is infuriating. But what happens when a poser holds the gas station hostage? The next number boils the blood of every air-cooled rider. Number 13. The gas pump campsite. The local gas station is a high-traffic combat zone. You pull up to the pump after a long highway run. You are running on fumes. The yellow low-fuel warning light glares at you from the digital dashboard. You see an open pump. A motorcycle sits parked in front of the nozzle. The rider is nowhere in sight. You look inside the convenience store window. The poser wanders the aisles without a care in the world. They inspect the beef jerky selection. They debate which colorful energy drink to purchase. They stand in a massive, slow-moving line to pay for their snacks. Their idle motorcycle acts as a physical barricade, blocking the only working high-octane pump. This behavior angers veteran riders because it demonstrates a lack of situational awareness. The unwritten rule of the gas station demands pure, ruthless efficiency. You pull up, you pump your fuel, you move your motorcycle to a designated parking space near the brick building. Then, and only then, do you walk inside to buy your water. The fuel pump is not a VIP parking spot. The poser operates under the delusion that their machine grants them special geographical privileges. Meanwhile, you sit trapped behind them. If you ride an older, air-cooled V-twin motorcycle, your engine requires forward momentum to push air over the cooling fins. Sitting stationary on hot asphalt causes your engine temperature to spike. Your oil thins out. Your engine begins to cook itself while you wait for a stranger to buy potato chips. When the poser emerges, they take 10 minutes to put their leather gloves on. They adjust their helmet strap. They check their phone messages. Respect the time of the rider's baking in the sun behind you. Clear the pump the second the metal nozzle clicks off. Holding a pump hostage is rude, but shattering the peace of a quiet neighborhood is a crime against the culture. Number 12 destroys engines and reputations. Number 12, the stoplight rev bomber. You sit at a red light in a quiet residential neighborhood. The sun is setting. Families sit on their front porches. A rider pulls up next to you. The traffic light remains solid red. The poser pulls the clutch lever tight to the grip. They hammer the throttle wide open. The engine bounces off the electronic rev limiter. A deafening, obnoxious roar echoes off the brick buildings. They drop the RPMs, and then they do it again. They stare at the pedestrians on the sidewalk, desperate for eye contact and cheap attention. This is the stoplight rev bomber. They operate under the false assumption that loud noise equals respect. They are wrong. Noise equals public annoyance, and it destroys internal engine components. You gain zero respect. You ruin the reputation of every motorcyclist in the city. When citizens complain to the city council about motorcycle noise, they are complaining about the rev bomber. The city responds by passing strict noise ordinances and setting up illegal exhaust checkpoints. They harass innocent riders because the poser demanded attention. A powerful engine speaks for itself at idle. The deep rhythmic thump of a tuned V-twin commands respect without a single twist of the grip. Keep your hand off the throttle until the light turns green. Rev bombing annoys the public, but our next poser trait attempts to kill fellow riders. Number 11 causes mass casualty events on the highway. Number 11, the group ride, chaos agent. You join a massive charity group ride to raise money for a good cause. 50 motorcycles ride in a tight, staggered formation down the interstate. The road captains establish a safe, steady pace. The pack moves together as one giant, predictable unit. Then the poser arrives. They refuse to hold their designated lane position. They weave between the staggered riders. They tailgate the motorcycle in front of them, leaving zero braking distance. They drop back 50 yards to build a gap, then pin the throttle to catch up, rubber banding the entire group. This is the chaos agent. They treat a charity cruise like a MotoGP qualifying lap. Group riding requires deep, unspoken trust. You trust the rider next to you to hold their line through a sweeping corner. You trust the rider ahead of you to maintain a steady speed. And when the poser breaks the formation, they introduce lethal physics to the pack. If you join a group, you submit to the established rules. You attend the morning pre-ride safety meeting. You learn the hand signals. You stay behind the designated ride leader. If the pace feels too slow for your ego, you leave the group and ride solo. You do not endanger 50 innocent people because you lack throttle discipline. If you refuse to ride with posers who endanger your life, hit the subscribe button right now. Join our community of riders who respect the machine and the pack. We keep each other safe. Let us look at another highway hazard. Number 10, the uninvited highway racer. You ride home from a long, grueling day at the office. You set your cruise control to the legal speed limit. You relax your grip on the bars. A screaming exhaust note approaches from the rear. The poser pulls up next to you on a neglected, scratched sport bike. They match your speed. They stare at you through their tinted visor. They drop 2 gears, pin the throttle, and shoot forward like a missile. They slow down, wait for you to catch up, and repeat the sequence. They demand a street race. This behavior is pathological. The poser assumes every person on 2 wheels wants to risk their life, their clean driving record, and their expensive machine for a meaningless highway pull. The veteran rider ignores the bait. We have nothing to prove to a stranger. We know the mechanical capabilities of our machines. We do not need to test our 0 to 60 times in heavy commuter traffic. The poser lacks track experience. They lack the funds to pay for a legitimate closed-course track day. They use the public interstate as their personal drag strip. They fail to understand the physics of cold tires. A cold motorcycle tire offers a fraction of the grip of a warm tire. When they drop a gear and dump the clutch, the cold rear tire breaks traction. The motorcycle high sides, throwing the poser into the concrete median. Racing commuters is pathetic. But the next mistake causes thousands of dollars in damage at 0 miles per hour. Number 9, the parking spot invader. Motorcycle parking spots are rare, coveted commodities in a crowded city center. You find a prime spot near the restaurant entrance. You park your heavy cruiser. You leave enough room for another rider to share the concrete space safely. You go inside to eat. You return an hour later. The poser has arrived. They squeeze their oversized, fully loaded touring bike into the remaining space. They parked 3 inches away from your hot exhaust pipes. Their wide handlebars overlap your leather seat. Their rear view mirrors block your instrument cluster. You cannot stand your motorcycle upright without striking their plastic fairing. This is the parking spot invader. They lack basic spatial awareness. They act entitled. They force you to perform an impossible balancing act just to mount your own machine. A motorcycle rests on a kickstand at an angle. To lift an 800-pound cruiser off that kickstand, you must lean the bike away from the stand. The poser has blocked your lean angle. You have no physical room to upright the machine. If your heavy riding boot slips on a patch of oil, your cruiser falls against their expensive bike. A catastrophic domino effect destroys both machines. Plastics shatter, mirrors snap off, gas tanks dent. You face a massive insurance headache because a stranger refused to walk an extra 50 feet. The unwritten rule of shared parking relies on geometry. You leave ample space for the first rider to mount their bike, lift it off the kickstand to true vertical, and back out of the spot safely. If the space looks tight, you find another spot. You do not trap a fellow rider. Trapping a rider is bad, but trapping a rider with terrible music is worse. Number 8. The Bluetooth DJ. You enjoy a quiet evening ride down a scenic coastal highway. You listen to the mechanical symphony of your spinning engine valves and the deep rumble of your exhaust notes. And the wind rushes past your helmet. You stop at a four-way intersection to enjoy the view. The poser rolls up next to you. They installed a cheap, aftermarket Bluetooth stereo system on their handlebars. They turn the volume dial to maximum. The tiny, cheap speakers cannot handle the wattage. They distort the heavy bass. The high-pitched treble pierces your eardrums. They blast terrible music for the entire neighborhood to endure. This is the Bluetooth DJ. They force their terrible playlist upon the world. They think they look like a cinematic hero entering an action movie scene. They look like a rolling nuisance. This behavior is dangerous. The acoustic distortion ruins the music, but the massive volume masks critical environmental audio cues. The poser drowns out the sound of approaching emergency sirens. They cannot hear the screeching tires of a careless driver locking their brakes behind them. They sacrifice vital situational awareness for cheap attention. Veteran riders utilize modern in-helmet communication systems. We pipe high-fidelity audio to our own ears via Bluetooth headsets. We keep the music private. We respect the peace of the surrounding environment. We hear the ambulances. We hear the traffic. Turn the external speakers off. Stop forcing the public to listen to your awful mixtape at every red light. Audio pollution is annoying, but our next poser trait divides the community based on plastic badges. Number 7 is the height of arrogance. Number 7, the brand snob wave. The biker wave is a sacred historical tradition. It acknowledges the shared inherent risk of riding on two wheels. You pass a fellow rider on a lonely country road. You drop your left hand from the clutch. You extend two fingers toward the asphalt, signaling to keep two wheels on the ground. The approaching rider stares at you. They keep both hands gripped tight on the bars. They refuse to wave. You check your rearview mirrors. They wave to the next rider. Why did they ignore you? Because you ride a high-revving Japanese sport bike and they ride a heavy American cruiser. Or you ride a dirt-covered adventure bike and they ride a pristine cafe racer. This is the brand snob. They pledge blind corporate allegiance to a marketing logo. They believe the metal badge bolted to the gas tank determines the worth of the human being controlling the machine. Veteran riders respect the ride, not the brand. We wave to the teenager on the 50cc scooter. We wave to the guy on the rusted chopper. We wave to the track day enthusiast. We share the same wind. Drop the ego, drop the hand. Acknowledge your brothers and sisters on the road. If you wave to every rider, regardless of what they ride, hit that like button. We are one community facing the same dangers. Let us look at a mistake that gets motorcycles towed. Number 6, the Sidewalk VVIP. You walk out of a big box retail store pushing a heavy shopping cart filled with groceries. You navigate the concrete sidewalk toward your car. You stop. A massive adventure motorcycle blocks the automatic sliding doors. The poser parked their machine on the pedestrian walkway. They bypassed the massive empty parking lot. They bypassed the designated motorcycle parking area. They rode their heavy machine up the concrete curb and parked it next to the trash cans. This is the Sidewalk VIP. They operate under the delusion that their motorcycle grants them immunity from basic traffic laws. They create a physical barricade for pedestrians. They violate the Americans with Disabilities Act. They force mothers with strollers to walk into the active, dangerous traffic lane just to get around the bike. They block wheelchair access ramps. The poser thinks they look like an outlaw rebel breaking the rules. They look like a massive inconvenience. Parking on the sidewalk is arrogant, but giving mechanical advice when you know nothing is dangerous. The next segment involves fragile egos and loose bolts. Number 5. The unsolicited mechanic. You attend a local summer bike night. Hundreds of motorcycles line the streets. You park your machine. You wipe the dust off the tank. A stranger approaches. They do not introduce themselves. They point at your rear tire. They tell you your chicken strips are too wide. They point at your exhaust. They tell you the specific brand you chose steals horsepower. They point at your suspension. They tell you your rebound damping is set wrong. This is the unsolicited mechanic. They suffer from the Dunning-Kruger effect. They possess zero actual wrenching experience. They gain their mechanical knowledge reading internet forums and watching short videos. They project their massive insecurities onto your motorcycle. They insult your choices to elevate their fragile ego. Your motorcycle runs flawless. Your suspension holds the road tight. Your exhaust sounds perfect to your ears. You built the machine to suit your specific riding style and your body weight. The poser demands you conform to the internet consensus. Veteran mechanics understand a fundamental truth. Every rider sets their bike up differently. Real mechanics never offer unsolicited advice unless they spot a critical, life-threatening safety failure. If your brake caliper hangs by a single loose bolt, a real mechanic warns you. If they dislike the color of your rims, they keep their mouth shut. Build your bike for you. Ignore the parking lot experts. Giving bad advice is annoying, but blinding oncoming traffic is lethal. Get ready for something that causes head-on collisions. Number 4. The high beam blinder. The sun sets. The darkness consumes the canyon road. You navigate the tight curves. A single headlight approaches from the opposite direction. The light burns with the intensity of a dying star. The beam sears your retinas. You squint. You lose sight of the yellow center line. You lose sight of the steel guardrail. The approaching rider has their high beams locked on. This is the high beam blinder. The poser believes running high beams at all times increases their visibility. They think it makes them safer from distracted drivers. They fail to understand the biology of the human eye. When a massive burst of light hits the human eye at night, the pupil constricts. It takes the human eye several seconds to dilate back to normal and regain night vision. During those seconds, the blinded driver covers hundreds of feet of asphalt blind. This creates a deadly target fixation scenario. The blinded driver drifts toward the bright light. They drift into your lane. The poser causes the exact head-on collision they attempt to avoid. Furthermore, if the poser rides behind you, the high beam reflects off your rearview mirrors. The intense light floods your helmet visor. You suffer a massive headache. You cannot check your blind spots. The unwritten rule of the night requires discipline. You use the high beam to spot deer on empty roads. The second you see red taillights or oncoming headlights, you flick the switch. Protect the vision of the drivers around you. Blinding drivers is reckless, but showing off for a crowd destroys clutches and reputations. Number 3 is the ultimate clown show. Number 3, the Burnout Clown. The charity ride finishes at a local park. Families walk the grounds. Children eat ice cream. Riders share stories. The event is peaceful. The poser decides the crowd needs a show. They mount their motorcycle. They hold the front brake lever tight. They dump the clutch. The rear tire spins. Thick, toxic white smoke fills the air. The engine screams off the rev limiter. The stench of melting rubber ruins the food. This is the Burnout Clown. They possess zero self-awareness. The thick smoke blinds the pedestrians. The noise terrifies the young children. But the mechanical damage is severe. Holding a motorcycle stationary while spinning the rear wheel glazes the internal clutch friction plates. The extreme heat warps the steel drive plates. Worse, the poser holds the burnout too long. The rear tire overheats and melts. It finds sudden traction on the hot asphalt. The kinetic energy transfers. The motorcycle shoots forward like a missile. The poser loses balance. The bike slams into the concrete curb. The plastic fairings shatter into pieces. And the aluminum engine case cracks. Hot oil bleeds onto the street. The poser humiliated themselves. Worse, they ruined the reputation of the entire event. The city council reads the police report. They revoke the event permit for next year. All because one idiot needed a 10-second ego boost. Save the burnouts for the drag strip. Keep the rubber on the road. Doing a burnout requires zero skill, but surviving a crash requires the right gear. Number 2, mocks the people trying to survive. Number 2, the gear shamer. You prepare for a long weekend trip. You strap on your heavy leather riding boots. You pull the Kevlar reinforced riding pants over your knees. You zip up the armored touring jacket containing back and shoulder pads. You wear full gauntlet leather gloves. You sweat in the summer heat, but you value your skin. The poser pulls up to the gas station next to you. They wear a thin cotton tank top. They wear basketball shorts. They wear foam flip-flops. They point at your armored suit. They laugh out loud. They call you a coward. They claim the heavy gear ruins the freedom of the ride. This is the gear shamer. They possess the mindset of a reckless amateur. They fail to understand the terrifying physics of asphalt friction. The veteran rider ignores the laughter. We dress for the slide, not the ride. The poser relies on pure luck to survive the commute. When their luck runs out, the road erases their tattoos. Never mock a rider for protecting their body. Let the poser ride naked. You ride protected. Do you like this video? Click that like button, and if you want to support us even more, become a member, have early access to the newest videos. We have reached the absolute bottom, the ultimate violation of trust and property. This mistake ends friendships forever. Number 1, the test ride beggar. You park your motorcycle at a local diner. A stranger approaches. They admire the custom paint. They ask a few questions about the engine displacement. You share a polite conversation. Then, the poser drops the question. Let me take it for a spin around the block. The air goes dead silent. This is the test ride beggar. They possess staggering audacity. A motorcycle is not a video game controller. It is a massive, heavy, powerful machine that requires specific, ingrained muscle memory. Every motorcycle behaves differently. Your front brakes might bite hard. Your throttle might require a delicate wrist. The poser does not know the specific friction zone of your clutch. They do not know the bite point of your brake pads. They want to risk your $30,000 investment for a quick, meaningless thrill. If they drop the bike, they will not hand you a stack of cash. They will apologize, shrug their shoulders, and walk away. You are left holding a broken machine and a massive insurance claim. Your insurance company reads the police report and denies the claim because an unauthorized, uninsured rider crashed the vehicle. You lose the bike, you lose the money. The unwritten rule is absolute. You never ask to ride another person's motorcycle. You never offer your motorcycle to a stranger. If the poser wants to ride a superbike, they must visit a dealership, hand over their license, and sign the finance paperwork. Protect your keys. Protect your machine. Never surrender the handlebars to a stranger. The poser epidemic threatens the culture of riding. They disrespect the machines. They endanger the public. They shatter the unwritten rules. You now possess the knowledge to spot them. You know how to avoid their mistakes. Be the veteran. Respect the road. Respect the machine. If you want to protect your garage and learn the truth about motorcycles, hit the subscribe button right now. Leave a comment below and share your worst poser encounter. Click the next video to continue the road trip. And don't forget to like this video.